What's up, you cocky cocks? Nobody's gonna get the reference if they hadn't seen the movie. My name is Don, and today's a good day. Today's a good day indeed. Ubisoft made the best decision they could ever make in their careers and re-released Scott Pilgrim vs. the World on modern consoles, and in time for Valentine's Day too. So buckle up and get ready to beat people up for the name of love and violence. Man, this game is just absolutely awesome, and so is the movie too. If you hadn't seen Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the movie, please do. Even if you're not a gamer, it's just hilarious, non-stop hilarity from beginning to end. However, I'm not the biggest expert on the Scott Pilgrim graphic novels from Brian Lee O'Malley, so that part of my knowledge is very, very limited. I've only read 2 of those. The 2 books I read were Scott Pilgrim vs. the Universe and Scott Pilgrim and the Infinite Sadness. Oh, and video game reference number 1. This curtain right here is from Super Mario Bros. 2, the American version. You can pick between 5 different characters, each with their own set of abilities and skills, and you can unlock more characters as you progress further into the game. I'm gonna pick Scott since he's the main character. Scott Pilgrim here is the jack-of-all-trades fighter. He's got pretty decent speed, pretty decent power, and is overall just easy to pick up and play compared to the other fighters in this game. And Scott can gain some pretty vicious melee attacks when he levels up. That's right, I said level up. This game has a few RPG elements about it. Now, this is a subject that detractors will criticize this game for, and I kind of agree with them. I think the RPG elements are kind of superfluous in this game, but at the same time, it's not that big a deal, and it's also very quick to level up in this game, so I don't really mind it. It's just another mechanic that lets you, the player, dictate how piss easy or ball busting you want the game to be. I mean, sure, Scott Pilgrim can be a hard game, but you, the player, have to take into account Scott's abilities and make sure you grow him into the beast he becomes later on in the game. But this game is not NES hard by any means, trust me. You got modern games like Sekiro and Nioh that are harder than this game. So what else does Scott Pilgrim bring to the table other than the genius concept of beating people up? Well, it's simple really. You get this Berserker mode that engages every time you defeat 5 enemies in a row without getting hit. While in this Berserker mode, punching a goon enough times will cause Scott to go into a flurry. Huh, get it? Flurry? Because it's snowing? We'll have Scott go into a flurry of lightning-fast punches to the face. The mode is indicated when the player character flashes yellow, and that spin kick I just did was reminiscent of Ryu's Hurricane Kick from Street Fighter, except that Scott doesn't go anywhere, he just kind of stays stationary as he pulls off the move. But as you can tell, I'm just laying waste to those guys. I'm about to lay waste to this guy right here. Poor bastard. It feels really good to achieve this form because it's not easy to come by. You can't just activate Berserker mode on a whim. Like I said before, you have to knock out 5 enemies in a row without getting hit, and even when you're in Berserker mode, if you get knocked down to your back, you will revert back to normal. There is also a 30 to 40 second time limit on the Berserk mode, so don't rely on it for too long because it won't last forever, and you have to start over, and you'll be sad. As you can tell, I leveled up a couple minutes ago and I got this nifty new ability, the Baseball Slide. It's pretty cool. That's his running light attack. His running heavy attack is a shoulder tackle or some sort of running headbutt or something. It's basically just him throwing his whole body weight against somebody else as the attack. So you got the fat enemies who are in every beat 'em up ever. For this guy, light attacks won't work, so you have to either do an aerial attack or hit him with weapons or a heavy attack. The fat guys have big windup to their attacks, so they're really easy to counter. Just don't be on the ground next to them. They will have a tendency of doing the leg drop on you, so you don't want to get knocked down around these guys. That spells bad news. This music is so good. Anamanaguchi, you madmen. I'm gonna say it right now, all of the music in this game kicks ass in one way or another. What I like about this game is the variety of standard mooks whose names elude me for the moment. They're in the credits, I just don't know their names personally. You got the blonde guy who just kind of throws crap at you. You got the guy with the baseball cap and sunglasses who just kind of grabs you all the time, or at least tries to. He fails. And the guy with the brown jacket and green undershirt who just really likes to punch you in the face, so be careful of him. I'm not sure if you heard this before, but this game is heavily inspired by River City Ransom. And then in 2019, a game called River City Girls came out, and that also took the 16-bit style of Scott Pilgrim. It wasn't 8-bit, and may have played a part in why Scott Pilgrim actually came back from the dead. I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but I do believe that Ubisoft's decision to re-release Scott Pilgrim is heavily based on River City Girls' success. And Streets of Rage 4, that game was also successful. And like I said before, this is probably Ubisoft's best decision because Assassin's Creed is no longer the same. It hasn't been the same since 4, and they stopped making Splinter Cell games, so where else can you go from here? You might as well go indie. And yes, I do consider Scott Pilgrim to be kind of indie, kind of niche, because I don't think anybody has... Well, I told you before, I haven't read the comics that much, and I've seen the movie, but it's not like it's the most popular of movies. So, yeah, Scott Pilgrim is very niche. The big guy with the fedora cannot be grabbed, so you have to focus on mixing up light and heavy attacks in order to defeat him. But back on the subject of Scott Pilgrim's popularity, it's something that only the hardcore gamers can really understand, and I think the mainstream would kind of miss out on, and that's sad really because Scott Pilgrim is a really neat concept. You got a guy fighting 7 evil exes, or in this case 6 evil exes and a crazy ass girlfriend that was in her curious phase, I guess, her sexy phase, and you're just also beating up these randos on the street. It's really hilarious. And if you don't like the constant video game references, there's also this crazy ass but romantic love nonagon, I guess you can call it, between Scott, Ramona, and the evil exes. It's just like, what is going on? It's insane and it's kind of awesome. It kind of parallels dating in today's climate, more specifically jealousy and how it affects people, what people will do when they're jealous. And there's also some sort of identity crisis with Scott. So Scott here has an evil twin that feeds off of his negative emotions. So Scott cannot get too angry in the story, otherwise that twin will come out and, I guess, wreak havoc or just taunt Scott. Like, I don't know the full extent of Nega Scott's powers in the novels. And yes, that is his name, Nega Scott. It's unusually deep for an action romantic comedy, but hey, it works, and it works really well. And I'm just beating these people up. Like, that guy with the fedora is not even phased, but that fat guy was like, ah! Oh, goddamn, I'm gonna have so much fun with this game. So going through those doors with the stars will send you to subspace, and this subspace right here is a reference to Rainbow Road. And I know somebody's probably gonna ask this in the comment section, but will I do a multiplayer session of this game with my friends? I would like to, but the current predicament of this world at the moment is just kind of hard to get somebody over to your house to actually play with you. So that's kind of up in the air at the moment. And also the online multiplayer kind of sucks in this game, and it turned me off from the online multiplayer. But no, I would like to do a couch co-op of this game with all 4 people, eventually. That goddamn COVID, am I right? Well, it is what it is. Those emo-looking guys rely on speed to dodge your attacks. They can dodge roll through your thrown items as well as your back attack, so you have to close the distance somehow by drop-kicking them. They're not too troublesome. Okay, we are closing in on the shopping district, and I gotta say, the first level in the game is perhaps the longest level because there's just so many shops and it's nowhere near as straightforward as the rest of the game. And also, here's where the music really kicks in. It's pretty amazing. Oh my god, the electric guitars! The electric guitars, man! I love the soundtrack to this game. I cannot express that enough. It's 8-bit, but it's also realistic instruments, and that's what I love about it. But getting on the subject of shops, there are a fuck ton of shops in downtown Toronto. Some being restaurants where you can heal the character, others being a bookstore and a record store where you can buy permanent upgrades for the character. Delicious Cup, for example, where you can buy all of your winter beverages and iced coffees. Not only can you carry the coffees with you on the go, and also obviously heal yourself, you go into berserker mode every time you drink the caffeine, so there's that. You go ham on the caffeine. Okay, I just unlocked the counterattack. That's something good. Every character in the game gets a counterattack, and it's super satisfying to pull off. You just press the block button right before you get hit, like a split second before you get hit. And admittedly, it is hard to pull off on your first couple of attempts because you have to time it well, first off, and the enemies are just they're really smart in that they'll stop attacking you when you start spamming the block button. But when you do pull off that counter, you'll feel like a badass. So yeah, that's how the level up system works in this game. You get a new ability each time you rank up, and the highest rank you can achieve is 16. You can also get one more super powerful move if you make it to a secret area in one of the levels in this game. I'll be sure to show that off when we get there. D's Tex-Mex. Now you can carry sodas, you can carry coffees, and you can even carry candies on you, but heavier entrees like nachos and tacos are a no, so you have to eat those at the counter. Would you think that Scott would be crazy enough to stuff a quesadilla in his pants pocket? Because honestly, I think he would do that. The universe is just that bizarre for it to make sense unironically. It is definitely bizarre enough for characters to not dress appropriately for the Canadian winter. I mean, did you see what Lisa Miller was wearing back at D's Tex-Mex? It's freaking February, lady. In Canada. And also Scott Pilgrim is just that brazen enough to not wear a jacket. Like, it's snowing out there, dude! I honestly did not know there was more to the item shop theme. It's just, oh, this game is so good, why did they discontinue it? It needs more sequels. I'm glad it's back. Where's Scott Pilgrim vs. the World 2, the movie, and the game? We need more of those. Edgar Wright, if you're watching this video, which I highly doubt, please make a Scott Pilgrim vs. the World sequel. You can just call it Scott Pilgrim vs. the Universe and have Michael Cera be on board as the main lead again. That will probably never happen, but hey, miracles happen all the time. We only have a bit of stage left to go before we fight the first Evil X, Matthew Batel. Played wonderfully by Satya Bhatt. I think that's how you pronounce it. I would feel really bad if I mispronounced it, but that's the actor who played Matthew Batel in the film. Matthew Batel's powers are mystical, levitation, pyrokinesis, and demon hipster chicks, and his occupation is military. Possibly. A former boyfriend from the 7th grade, Ramona Flowers, and he only dated for a week and a half, during which Ramona pretty much used Matthew and his mystical powers to ward off flocks of jocks interested in her. She dated Matthew because, according to her own story, he was the only non-white, non-jock kid at her school. The two only kissed once, and it ended shortly afterward due to Matthew's pre-adolescent impulsiveness. Afterward, Matthew turned evil during his high school years and by that time had moved far, far away. He also apparently took the breakup very badly, looking much more evil than most of the exes. And that's Matthew's story of getting cucked. And here's a little Easter egg here. You can go into this hole in the wall and you'll find Wallace, who has a secret shop. And pretty much every reference to every video game ever in there. And those video game references like Neverending Fantasy and Speedy the Porcupine give you ridiculous stat increases, so make sure to buy them if you have enough money, because they are expensive. But if you don't have the money to spare, you can just go to the record store and get lesser stat increases for $20 instead of Wallace's $100. Come on, Wallace, I thought you gave discounts to roommates. Wallace is available to play as from the get-go in the PS4 version of this game. I'll be sure to show him off in the extra part as well as the other characters' endings. Wallace fights kind of like how Stills does, except there are some differences in his attack animations. It's not that noticeable really, it's just you're playing as another Stills. Every other character in the game has major differences except for Stills and Wallace, which I think is weird, but okay, whatever. The dog enemies in this game are there just to, I guess they're just there to be annoying because they don't really do much. They just stay barely within reaching distance and they try to bite you. So your best bet is to drop kick them. So like I said, they're just kind of there to distract you from other enemies. You can tell when goons are defeated when numbers stop popping out of them, or if you see this Adam West Batman sort of kapow effect come out of them too. That's another telltale sign that they're gone. Oh yeah, you teach that Snowy Air who's boss Scott? Why were you punching the air? There are occasions where this game might spaz out and glitch. Like, there are some moments where I just get punched by an invisible goon and it's really random, and you can actually punch the invisible goon too. It's not like it's he's punching you and you can't punch him. You can actually punch the invisible goon if you know where he's at. It's really, really bizarre. There's also a strange glitch on the Katianagi's level on the fire escape. If you run too fast or if you get caught by the robot hand, you glitch out and walk up the building. Yeah, that tends to happen. I ran back into town just so I can get some health points back and not lose a life to Patel. And I missed out on showing you the record in bookstores, so I'm showing you them now. For the record store, you have 4 different items that will boost a particular stat. The Clash of Demon Hit will boost your weapon powers, Smashing Turnips will boost your melee powers, and Winifred Haley is defense focused, with Crashing the Boys being speed focused. Then you have Cupid or Cupid. I'm not sure if there's an actual pronunciation in that, it's just data I guess. It gives you an all-around stat boost and everything. And here's another random goon. I think he just jumped out of a trash can when I made my way back. Alright, I took no prisoners. Let's actually fight Matthew Patel. Now, this particular subspace highway is the only part of the game where the boss is actually separated from the level, and you have to take the subspace highway in order to get to the boss. There are other subspace highways in the game, it's just that the rest of them are optional and you don't have to take them to the boss if you don't want to. This actually comes into play later on as one of the 7Xs can manipulate space-time, and that boss fight is just freaking insane. We'll be seeing that soon. I really do like some of the backgrounds in the subspace highways, they're just a mix of creepy and gorgeous. This is my favorite boss theme in the entire game. The song that's currently playing right now is called Bollywood. The link will be in the description. Matthew Patel is not really that hard of a boss fight. I mean, he is the first boss after all. But all he really does is try to come after you and attack with his key attacks, which you cannot block, so you have to be careful. He does have tremendous wind up on the key attacks, so you can either dodge out of the way or punch him in the face. When a third of Patel's health goes down, he likes to summon his demon hipster chicks to swarm around him. You could just drop kick them in the face and they'll go down in 2 hits. Seriously, demon hipster chicks? You may notice a beer bottle and some party cups around. Pick up the bottle, it does way more damage than the party cups, which does nothing at all. Like seriously, have you ever been thwacked with a red party cup? That shit just irritates you more than it actually hurts. The third and final form of Patel has the demon hipster chicks become more of an active threat. You can duck down to the very bottom left or right of the screen, but you know me, I take no prisoners. They are all going down. The projectile attacks from the groupies are blockable. Matthew Patel also has some attacks of his own that can be parried if you block at the right time, so yeah, there's that. How about that Crashing the Boys? My favorite song is I'm Sad. I'm so very sad. It's only like 3 words. Don't worry, the demon hipster chicks won't come back after you defeat them by means of throwing a bottle at their face. It's just you and Patel now, and I gotta say, this is probably the best boss fight to start out on. It's just epic. Sweet! And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the first level of this game. All 25 minutes of it. Trust me, the other levels in this game are nowhere near as long. Even the final level is still not as long as this level, so you're in luck, you're in luck. Man, Stills and Kim look so goddamn depressed. Next time on Scott Pilgrim, we're gonna take on the second Evil X, Captain America, I mean Lucas Lee. I'll see you then.